It's funny. Like if I would have had mentors, I would have held the business for another year. Like I probably left at least 20, $30 million on the table. Like no joke. I do think more people should, like, I think your content's fucking awesome. I think more people, that's the last thing I'll leave people with. There's practitioners and there's content creators. And most of YouTube creators that aren't practicing. And so they're really good at making content that sounds fucking attractive. The 9 side hustles to make you $500 a day. That is optimized content from someone who's good at making content. Follow more practitioners like my man here. I try to put out as much as I can, but you want people in the field. So just ask them what business are they doing? Who are they working with? And if people can't answer those questions, then don't take them that seriously. I mean, there was one point where I tried to like hyper optimize every bit of my schedule. But it's varied a ton. But I think I had a good routine of genius at one point where I would dedicate like an hour in the morning to reading. I guess I've just found that the more space I give myself and the less I try to hyper optimize, the more productive I end up being, the more I accomplish, and then not like killing myself if I don't get shit done that day. Like sometimes it just is what it is, right? I mean, if you have stuff you have to do it, but don't feel like you have to be working for the sake of working. I think that's a trap a lot of people fall into. You'd be better off just throwing the Kindle Audible, like the audio book on and going for a walk, because most of our good ideas do come from boredom. Like a lot of like boredom is a function of biology, and we don't give ourselves space to be bored anymore. That's like a scientific fact. We're plagued with cheap dopamine, and so with that, our creativity gets ruined. So I guess that's been one of my other big adjustments recently, has just been giving myself the space to let some of those ideas process. We download all this information, we need to synthesize it, and then we need to see what comes out, of our heads from it. So, but I couldn't tell you in the early days of Genius, like exactly, I was so young. Like I kept trying to develop routines, and some would work, some wouldn't. I remember being over optimized though. I didn't like that.
That's really great advice. I agree, because I noticed once I learned about like this 20-80-20 concept, it really changed a lot for me, and I started to notice kind of the same thing. Like I should give myself more time and not just always try to fill every gap with like work or something, because it actually stumps my creativity a lot. And creativity is actually a big lever. If you can be creative, I mean,
Creativity
bro,
is what, like, no, I mean, that's the maximum multiplier. Like it takes one idea to make yours 100 million, period. So why aren't we giving ourselves more room for that, right? Like this Genius, I remember thinking I have to be productive every minute of every day. And I guess that can work to some extent, but I can't imagine how much I left on the table too,
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, obviously it worked very, very well. I think, like you said, you never have to work a day in your life. I think that's probably some of the most freedom as a person you can get, and most people will never ever get to experience that. What would you say um, has what was okay? So, for example, with Amazon, right? Like you exited, but I'm just curious, how did you facilitate? How did that deal even come about, or were you looking for that, or did somebody like come to you?
No, I really wasn't at the time. It's funny. Like if I would have had mentors, I would have held the business for another year, and like I probably left like at least 20, $30 million on the table. Like no joke. So great outcome, but still, like you're always learning, and there's always levels, right? The Amazon acquisition space was just starting to heat up at the time. So I had a friend get acquired the year before for like $10 million. So everyone was aware that exits were possible. I knew like eventually once I saw his exit, I was like, okay, this is something I probably want to do. But basically I got an unsolicited offer. Somebody came in, they bought my contract manufacturer, the people that actually make the product, and then they approached me like a week later with an offer. And it was a good offer, what I thought was a really good offer. And so I just basically ran with it. But a lot of different ways to sell a business. You can sign with a banker if you're, big enough. You can, even social media nowadays, right? Like deals are getting done through there. So in my case, it was unsolicited, but a lot of different ways to do it.
When it comes to so they bought your manufacturer. That's crazy. So how did you build that manufacturer relationship in the first place? Did you just reach out on Google and just literally talk, or what?
Those guys in particular, so that was like my second main manufacturer. I met him at a trade show, and we just were very aligned on like, product quality values. Like they had left another manufacturing situation just because they didn't trust the quality. And like I was starting this brand because I cared about quality. And so we met at a trade show and just kind of hit it off. That's really the story there.
Oh, so a trade show. That's definitely something to note. Now, when it comes to manufacturing a product like that at the beginning, is it do you have to have a lot of money aside basically to get started, or are there better ways now?
No, I mean honestly, I started Genius for like $5,000. I gave them a deposit, and we did two products that like total it would have cost me 20 grand, but they floated the back half of it with my deposit.
Mm,
I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to be scrappy. There's more and more manufacturers in different industries that are now catering themselves towards, e-commerce types that want to test an idea before scaling.
mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, I think that's everywhere. I don't know every industry in and out like that, but like food, that was not the case. Food, you had to order, you know, 10,000 bags of cookies and a little more
Damn.
costly. But yeah,
But yeah, I agree. I've been seeing that a lot. It's just more business types. So I just went to the Alibaba event, and for example, there, Alibaba manufacturers were also kind of starting to allow people to test some of their products with like a low minimum order quantity, because they are kind of getting into that business of just like the average ecom person now willing to risk like 50K into starting a business. You can risk five or even less to get it going.
no,
That's
exactly,
powerful.
exactly. It's like never been more conducive to fucking attempt to start something.
Right. That's really exciting though. I think it's like I agree. I think it's like the best time. I'm just excited every day, man. I get up every day excited just to build and work with people like you, work with just people in general that are crushing it. It just feels so powerful, to be honest. It feels so great. So I hope more people get to experience that. Do you have any last words that you want to give people? Any last pieces of advice that you want to give?
Not really. I feel like I poured it all out there for you, Ari. I left it all out there.
That was so good.
It just hit us both up on all the social media channels, keep
Hell yeah.
engaged, and seriously, I do think more people should like I think your content's fucking awesome. I think more people that's the last thing I'll leave people with. There's practitioners and there's content creators, and most of YouTube creators that aren't practicing. And so they're
Mhm.
really good at making content that sounds fucking attractive. The 9 side hustles to make you $500 a day. That is optimized content from someone who's good at making content. Follow more practitioners like my man here. I try to put out as much as I
Thank
can,
you,
but
bro.
you want people in the field. So just ask them what business are they doing? Who are they working with? And if people can't answer those questions, then don't take them that seriously.
Facts. I love
Thank you for coming
that.
to my TED.
Yeah, that was a great TikTok. Thank you, bro. I'll put all your information in the description. Everybody, make sure you check them out, of course. And yeah, man, appreciate your time.
Likewise, brother. I appreciate it. We'll do it again soon.
Let's do it. Peace.